and welcome back to The Power of Now, a guide to spiritual enlightenment with Gilda and Barbara. Today we're doing a book study on A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose, written by Eckhart Tolle, and we hope that you have your copy so that you can follow along. Today we are on Chapter 9, Section 3, Your Inner Purpose, a dialogue on inner purpose. This section is quite long, so we are going to break it in half. And today we will be reviewing the first half, and next week we will review the second half. So my name is Barbara Wainwright, and I'm here with Gilda Simonet. Welcome, Gilda.
Thank you. A dialogue on inner purpose. The following dialogue condenses numerous conversations I have had with people who are looking for their true life purpose. Something is true when it resonates with and expresses your innermost being, when it is in alignment with your inner purpose. This is why I'm directing their attention to their inner and primary purpose first.
A student comments, I don't know exactly what it is, but I want some change in my life. I want expansion. I want to be doing something meaningful. And yes, I want prosperity and the freedom that comes with it. I want to do something significant, something that makes a difference in the world. But if you ask me what exactly I want, I would have to say, I don't know. Can you help me find my life purpose?
Your purpose is to sit here and talk to me, because that's where you are, and that's what you are doing, until you get up and do something else. Then that becomes your purpose.
A student asks, so my purpose is to sit in my office for the next 30 years until I retire or get laid off?
You are not in your office now, so that's not your purpose. When you do sit in your office and do whatever you do, then that is your purpose. Not for the next 30 years, but for now.
The student comments, I think there is some misunderstanding here. For you, purpose means what you are doing now. For me, it means having an overall aim in life, something big and significant that gives meaning to what I do, something that makes a difference. Shuffling papers in the office is not it. I know that.
As long as you are unaware of being, you will seek meaning only within the dimension of doing and of future. That is to say, the dimension of time. And whatever meaning or fulfillment you find will dissolve or turn out to have been a deception. Invariably, it will be destroyed by time. Any meaning we find on that level is true only relatively and temporarily.
Eckhart continues. For example, if caring for your children gives meaning to your life, what happens to that meaning when they don't need you and perhaps don't even listen to you anymore? If helping others gives meaning to your life, you depend on others being worse off than yourself so that your life can continue to be meaningful and you can feel good about yourself. If the desire to excel, win, or succeed at this, or that activity provides you with meaning, what if you never win? Or your winning streak comes to an end one day, as it will? You would then have to look to your imagination or memories, a very unsatisfactory place to bring some measure of meaning into your life. Making it in whatever field is only meaningful as long as there are thousands or millions of others who don't make it. So you need other human beings to fail so that your life can have meaning.
Eckhart continues, I am not saying here that helping others, caring for your children, or striving for excellence in whatever field are not worthwhile things to do. For many people, they are an important part of their outer purpose. But outer purpose alone is always relative, unstable, and impermanent. This does not mean that you should not be engaged in those activities. It means you should connect them to your inner primary purpose so that a deeper meaning flows into whatever you do.
Eckhart continues, without living in alignment with your primary purpose, whatever purpose you come up with, even if it is to create heaven on earth, will be of the ego or become destroyed by time. Sooner or later, it will lead to suffering. If you ignore your inner purpose, no matter what you do, even if it looks spiritual, the ego will creep into how you do it. And so the means will corrupt the end. The common saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, points to this truth. In other words, not your aims or your actions are primary, but the state of consciousness out of which they come. Fulfilling your primary purpose is laying the foundation for a new reality, a new earth. Once that foundation is there, your external purpose becomes charged with spiritual power because your aims and intentions will be one with the evolutionary impulse of the universe.
Eckhart continues, the separation of thinking and awareness, which lies at the core of your primary purpose, happens through negation of time. We are not speaking here, of course, of the use of time for practical purposes, such as making an appointment or planning a trip. We are not speaking of clock time, but of psychological time, which is the mind's deep-seated habit of seeking the fullness of life in the future, where it cannot be found, and ignoring the only point of access to it, the present moment.
Eckhart continues, when you look upon what you do or where you are as the main purpose of your life, you negate time. This is enormously empowering. The negation of time in what you do also provides the link between your inner and outer purposes, between being and doing. When you negate time, you negate the ego. Whatever you do, you will be doing extraordinarily well because the doing itself becomes the focal point of your attention. Your doing then becomes a channel through which consciousness enters this world. This means there is quality in what you do, even in the most simple action, like turning the pages in the phone book or walking across the room. The main purpose for turning the pages is to turn the pages. The secondary purpose is to find a phone number. The main purpose for walking across the room is to walk across the room. The secondary purpose is to pick up a book at the other end. And the moment you pick up the book, that becomes your main purpose.
Eckhart continues, you may remember the paradox of time we mentioned earlier. Whatever you do takes time, and yet it is always now. So while your inner purpose is to negate time, your outer purpose necessarily involves future, and so could not exist without time. But it is always secondary. Whenever you become anxious or stressed, outer purpose has taken over, and you lost sight of your inner purpose. You have forgotten that your state of consciousness is primary, all else secondary.
A student asks, would living like this not stop me from looking to achieve something great? My fear is that I will remain stuck with doing little things for the rest of my life, things that are of no consequence. I'm afraid of never rising above mediocrity, never daring to achieve anything great, not fulfilling my potential.
Eckhart continues. The great arises out of small things that are honored and cared for. Everybody's life really consists of small things. Greatness is a mental abstraction and a favorite fantasy of the ego. The paradox is that the foundation for greatness is honoring the small things of the present moment instead of pursuing the idea of greatness. The present moment is always small in the sense that it is always simple, but concealed within it lies the greatest power. Like the atom, it is one of the smallest things, yet contains enormous power. Only when you align yourself with the present moment do you have access to that power. Or it may be more true to say that it then has access to you, and through you to this world. Jesus was referring to this power when he said, "It is not I, but the Father within me who does the works. And I can of my own self do nothing." Anxiety, stress, and negativity cut you off from that power. The illusion that you are separate from the power that runs the universe returns. You feel yourself to be alone again, struggling against something or trying to achieve this or that. But why did anxiety, stress, or negativity arise? Because you turned away from the present moment. And why did you do that? You thought something else was more important. You forgot your main purpose. One small error, one misperception creates a world of suffering.
Eckhart continues. Through the present moment, you have access to the power of life itself, that which has traditionally been called God. As soon as you turn away from it, God ceases to be a reality in your life, and all you are left with is the mental concept of God, which some people believe in and others deny. Even belief in God is only a poor substitute for the living reality of God manifesting every moment of your life.
A student asks, would complete harmony with the present moment not imply the cessation of all movement? Doesn't the existence of any goal imply that there is a temporary disruption in that harmony with the present moment and perhaps a reestablishment of harmony at a higher, more complex level once the goal has been attained? I imagine that the sapling that pushes its way through the soil can't be in total harmony with the present moment either, because it has a goal. It wants to become a big tree. Maybe once it has reached maturity, it will live in harmony with the present moment.
Eckhart continues, the sapling doesn't want anything because it is at one with the totality, and the totality acts through it. Look at the lilies of the field, how they grow, said Jesus. They toil not, neither do they spin. Yet even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. We could say that the totality, life, wants the sapling to become a tree. But the sapling doesn't see itself as separate from life and so wants nothing for itself. It is one with what life wants. That's why it isn't worried or stressed. And if it has to die prematurely, it dies with ease. It is as surrendered in death as it is in life. It senses, no matter how obscurely, its rootedness in being, the formless and eternal one life.
Eckhart continues, like the Taoist sages of ancient China, Jesus likes to draw our attention to nature because he sees the power at work in it that humans have lost touch with. It is the creative power of the universe. Jesus goes on to say that if God clothes simple flowers in such beauty, how much more will God clothe you? That is to say, that while nature is still a beautiful expression of the evolutionary impulse of the universe, when humans become aligned with the intelligence that underlies it, they will express that same impulse on a higher, more wondrous level.
Eckhart continues. So be true to life by being true to your inner purpose. As you become present and thereby total in what you do, your actions become charged with spiritual power. At first, there may be no noticeable change in what you do, only the how changes. Your primary purpose is now to enable consciousness to flow through into what you do. The secondary purpose is whatever you want to achieve through the doing. Whereas the notion of your purpose before was always associated with the future, there is now a deeper purpose that can only be found in the present through the denial of time.
Eckhart continues. When you meet with people, at work, wherever it may be, give them your fullest attention. You are no longer there primarily as a person, but as a field of awareness, of alert presence. The original reason for interacting with the other person, buying or selling something, requesting or giving information, and so on, now becomes secondary. The field of awareness that arises between you becomes the primary purpose for the interaction. That space of awareness becomes more important than what you may be talking about, more important than physical or thought objects. The human being becomes more important than the things of this world. It does not mean you neglect whatever needs to be done on a practical level. In fact, the doing unfolds not only more easily, but more powerfully when the dimension of being is acknowledged and so becomes primary. The arising of that unifying field of awareness between human beings is the most essential factor in relationships on the new earth.
This section of the book is the entire message, I think, of the book. The name of the book is A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. And in this little section, in the last section of chapter 9, he's laying it out there for you to figure out what your life purpose is. Your life purpose is to connect your spiritual inner being to everything that you're doing in the world. It's about bringing your presence into every moment. And it's interesting terminology when he says negate time. That's a little bit Greek for me, but what he's really saying is to be present. There's no time like the present. There is only now. You have no power in the past and you have no power in the future. The only power you have is right now, just like he said in his entire book, The Power of Now. That is how important the power of now is. It is how we can live a fulfilling life. And wanting it to be a grand gesture and make a difference and all the rest of it, that's ego. Recognize that that's ego. Yes, you have a big heart and you want to give and you want to make a difference and you want to do great things in the world. That's ego. All right. When you are coming from the place of, I want to be like the sapling and do what God wants to express through me, now you are on your purpose. We only read half of this section because it's so long. However, just in this first half, I believe it's the essence of everything he's saying in the entire book, which is we are here for a spiritual awakening. And if we pay attention to our inner life, and what wants to be expressed through us, and we take action based on that, that is when we are going to be fulfilled. That is when we are going to be lifted up. That is when the universe is going to conspire on our behalf to create all the circumstances that help us to express that, not because of ego, but because we are tuned into what God wants for us. We are tuned into what God wants us to express in the world. What does God want to experience and create through us? I believe that that's what he's saying in this section, is to tune into that and let the divine God, the universe, source, your higher power, whatever you want to call it, let that express through you. And if you don't know what that is, meditate on it. Go inside, figure out what it is, and maybe just keep showing up. It's like, okay, God, I'm going to continue to show up in these areas that are already before me because I've been maybe working out of my ego or haven't been tuned in. But today I'm going to do what I would normally do because that's what I've done in the past. But today I'm going to do it with presence. I'm going to do it with consciousness coming from my higher power, my source, my wisdom, my inner self. I'm going to bring that to the table with me. I'm going to express you, higher power, through me by being present in the moment in everything that I do, every move that I make, every breath that I take. I'm going to do it with you.
I love that so much because it really is the light of consciousness that you bring to what you do. Like when you let every breath, every word, like every step be guided by that awareness, it's just so beautiful. Like everything is like spiritually guided at that point. And I love it. So I love that you said that.
Thank you. Just to repeat this last sentence in this section, the arising of that unifying field of awareness, that means when you connect to your inner being and connect to that awareness, there's a field of awareness. There is universal wisdom. When you connect to that and unify with the field of awareness between human beings, it is the most essential factor in relationships on the new earth. This week, think about that as you go through your day. How can I bring that connection, that awareness, that awakened state into everything that I do? If you catch your ego getting the best of you, take a deep breath, breathe in, and take a slow breath out. Get centered, get grounded, and tap into that unifying field of awareness before you make your next move, before you do the next thing. Be and then do. Until next week, hope you have a good one. Bye now.
Bye.
If you've enjoyed this podcast and you'd like to go deeper into a spiritual conversation, you can join our Facebook group, The Power of Now, A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment with Gilda and Barbara. Or you can contribute by going to wainwrightglobal.com/go/support.